The history of Hamas and the formation of Hamas is complex. They come from a Muslim extremist foundation. The Muslim Brotherhood is their ideological base. Unlike the Palestinian Liberation Organization, which is more secular in nature, Hamas is definitely very much fundamentalist in terms of their religious beliefs. The Israelis have been fostering Hamas from the very beginning. I mean, Hamas, was conceived by the Palestinians as its own thing, but it was the Israeli government that said, hey, this we can use. You see, Israel didn't want the Palestinian Liberation Army, or PLO, to become this powerful entity, because the last thing Israel wants is a viable Palestinian state. I'll say that one more time, just so people understand what I'm saying. Israel does not want a Palestinian state, never has, won't tolerate it. They've talked about it, but they knew they were never going to allow it to happen. And one of the ways they prevented it from happening was to create a division within Palestinian population. So they promoted Hamas, they funneled money into Hamas, they openly collaborated with Hamas, even though I don't think Hamas understood they were being collaborated with, and they empowered Hamas. All the terrorist acts that took place in the 1990s took place because Israel wanted them to take place. I'm not saying they planned them. What I am saying is that Israel viewed that as a very effective way of not only dividing the Palestinian population, but then demonizing them in the eyes of the world so that there wouldn't be a Palestinian state. You see, if Hamas is around blowing up buses and bridges, no one's going to support a Palestinian state, because everybody has bought into the notion that Israeli security must come first. Israel was facilitating the acts of terror that took place against them by creating the organization that produced the terrorists. That doesn't mean that Israel wasn't hunting them down and killing them. Of course they were. I'm just saying that Israel's not an innocent party here. Benjamin Netanyahu is not an innocent party. In 2005, they made a decision to transition from a terrorist organization. Israel made the decision to transition Hamas from a terrorist organization into a political organization. They coordinated with the Qatari government to pour in millions of dollars to turn Hamas into a political party, and then they helped facilitate them in elections that Hamas won, by the way. Hamas won the majority of seats in the Palestinian parliament. And then what happened is Israel, I think, was a little taken aback. They wanted a little party, they didn't want a big party. So they then facilitated a civil war between Fatah, the military wing of the Palestinian Liberation Organization, and Hamas. Hamas had a significant representation in the West Bank, a very strong representation in Gaza. When the civil war ended, Fatah had been totally eliminated in Gaza, and Hamas had been kicked out of the West Bank. So Gaza became a Hamas stronghold. And from 2007 onwards, Hamas has run the show. There are other resistance groups. The Palestinian Islamic Jihad is one that's well known, but the biggest and the most influential is Hamas, and they're running the show there. Now, they have a job of governance, and they are doing that, but they've never forgotten their resistance roots. I, again, ask everybody just to reflect on the reality that Gaza is an open-air concentration camp. If you lived in an open-air concentration camp, tell me what you would do. And if you say I would sit there and do nothing, you're a liar. Every single man worthy of the name would wake up every morning saying, how do I hurt them? Hurt the occupiers, hurt the people that have pinned me in. And they would be very receptive to the message of resistance that comes from Hamas. So, now we come back to things that Joe Biden has said. The only solution to this problem, the only solution is the creation of a Palestinian state. If you want to defeat Hamas, and the only way you're going to defeat Hamas, you have to create a Palestinian state that diffuses Hamas's reason to exist. Hamas exists to resist Israel. Right. But if there is a Palestinian state, there's really nothing left to resist.